If you're just like me, you are watching the Sean Diddy Combs versus the United States federal trial where he is currently being charged in a RICO. Now, I wanted to take some time to educate everyone on trauma. Now, we'll say this as a disclaimer. No two people are the same. We know that, right? So, of course, we can assume that people who have dealt with trauma, their experiences and their reactions and the way they manifest the trauma will not be the same as well. But one of the main questions that I keep seeing over and over again is why would an abuse victim have a delayed reaction after years? And I can truly understand this because it is quite complex, especially if you're not in the field and you haven't studied this, such as myself. An abuse victim may have a delayed reaction or disclose due to trauma's impact on the brain, such as dissociation, memory suppression, or even shock. Fear, shame, manipulation by the abuser, or lack of safety can also prevent immediate disclosure. Many only speak out when they feel emotionally safe, supported, or triggered later in life. So even in the case of Dawn Richard, where there were a lot of comments about maybe she's lying, she's coming up with different scenarios of the story and adding on. And I truly understand everybody's speculation and even suspicion of this. However, it is quite typical for someone who have suppressed traumatic memories to later recall certain details when they are asked to speak about it and recall certain events and memories. Now, the brain and trauma response. Survival mode. During abuse, the brain often enters fight, flight, freeze, or fun mode. Many victims freeze or dissociate, making it difficult to process or even remember what's happening in real time. Now, I will educate you on some of the brain, and it may seem kind of foreign to you, but let me just try to help you out. The hippocampus and memory. Trauma can impair the hippocampus, which processes memory due to fragmented, suppressed, or delayed recall. The amygdala, overreaction. The amygdala stores emotional content, especially fear, which can cause overwhelming responses later when the brain begins to process the trauma. Now, I don't know if it were you or, I will say this. When Dawn was on the stand, did you guys recall how the first day she was very bold? Now, mind you, I will say this again. Dawn isn't my client. I haven't assessed her, so I will just try to say that before you guys come jumping down my throat. But it is very typical for someone, as they recall trauma, to kind of be more scared, more fearful. And if you saw the next day, the defense even tried to, several times, had her speak up a little louder. And instantly, as a clinician, I was like, okay, she's probably going back into her shell as she's remembering some of the traumatic experiences that she has tried to suppress. It is happening in real time for her, because what happens when someone has endured trauma? For you and I, if we haven't endured trauma, it may say, okay, we may think, why can't this person just get it out? But for the person who has experienced trauma, it's like they're experiencing all over again. It is like really real. And if you study trauma, such as myself, some of the body's reaction is activating as if they are really experiencing it in real time all over again. And not just that, any environment that can evoke stress, such as being on trial, where millions and millions upon millions of people are watching you. And not just that, imagine being cross-examined, because the defense, they do have a job to do. They have to represent their clients. So I'm not coming down on them at all. But imagine you've been asked to recall this information, and you may feel like you're being badgered, or you may feel like you're being accosted by the defense, who, again, they have a job to defend their client. Many survivors disclose years later or decades even later when they have reached a safer environment. have gone through therapy. They're not in the same proximity as in the same space as the abuser again. They witness similar abuse happening to others. They become parents or begin to reflect on their own childhood. These are all typical when it comes to trauma. These are things that can allow a person to recall certain things. And we probably have witnessed some of these things in this trial. Public awareness or movements such as Me Too can help a person have more courage. Yes, they can have more courage to step forward when they feel like, you know what, me too. There's people who feel like me, because sometimes when a person who's been abused, the perpetrator will make them feel like they're isolated. No one is ever going to believe you. And this can help a person and can cause a person to not disclose. So I hope I helped you today. Learn a little bit about abuse. So please have some compassion when you see people who have said that they've been abused. And this is not to say that everyone who stepped forward is being truthful, because I will say that. But it is very typical for a person to disclose years, decades later. So I hope this helped you, and take care.